Brother, let's be real for a second. There's something quietly holding you back, and you already know it. It's that little habit, that little choice, that feels harmless in the moment, but leaves you empty after. It drains your energy, kills your focus, and leaves you asking, why do I feel stuck? You push it aside, call it normal, tell yourself it's nothing, but deep down, you feel it stealing from you. And here's the truth. It's not about the habit itself. It's about control. Every time you give in to an impulse you can't master, you send yourself a message. I'm not in charge. My urges are. That's why you feel weaker, slower, less alive. But the good news? You can flip that script. You can take all that energy you're wasting and channel it into something that builds you instead of breaks you. That's the difference between drifting through life and living like a man who's unshakable. So today, I'm going to walk you through a different way to see this. Not as punishment, but as power. And if you internalize these lessons, brother, you won't just quit a habit. You'll transform into a man who can't be stopped. Point 1. The hidden cost of comfort. Brother, think about the world we live in today. You don't even have to get off the couch to have food at your door. Entertainment? One tap on your phone. Even the habit we're talking about, instant pleasure, no effort, no risk, no investment. It feels harmless, but it's the most dangerous kind of trap. Because every time you reach that shortcut, you're teaching your brain one lesson. I don't have to fight. I can take the easy road. And the more your mind gets trained like that, the weaker it becomes when real battles show up. That's why you feel drained even before the day begins. That's why the gym feels heavier, why your dreams feel further away. Because you've been giving yourself the reward without earning it. And here's the brutal truth, man. Comfort costs you courage. It robs you of the fire that's built when you struggle, when you push, when you refuse the easy way. If you keep feeding the cycle, you won't just lose energy. You'll lose the man you were supposed to become. So ask yourself, is that 5 seconds of comfort worth trading the life you were meant to build? Point 2. Desire isn't the enemy. Slavery is. Brother, let me be real with you. Too many men think the answer to self-control is killing their desires, pretending they don't exist, living in denial. But that's not strength, that's fear. That's like a man hiding from the fire instead of learning to wield it. Think of a warrior standing on the edge of battle. You think he doesn't feel fear? Of course he does. But he doesn't run from it. He carries it. He channels it. He sharpens it into focus and still moves forward. Desire works the same way. The strongest men aren't the ones who kill their fire. They're the ones who harness it. They don't see urges as a curse. They see them as raw power, waiting to be directed. That's the difference between slavery and mastery. So don't beat yourself up for having urges. You're human. You're wired that way. The problem isn't desire. The problem is when desire owns you. The real shift happens when you stand up and say, this energy won't control me. I'll control it. And once you flip that mindset, desire stops being a chain on your ankle and starts being a sword in your hand. That's when you stop running from yourself and start moving with unstoppable force. Point 3. Energy wasted is potential buried. Brother, let's cut the fluff. That energy you keep wasting, it's not just vanishing into thin air. It's your potential, pure fuel meant to drive your creativity, your focus, your ambition. Every time you throw it away for nothing, you're not just losing a moment of pleasure. You're burying a piece of your own future. That's why afterward you don't feel stronger. You feel smaller. You feel drained, guilty, almost like a part of you slipped through your fingers. Because deep down, your body knows that energy wasn't meant to be wasted. It was meant to be used, to build, to create, to push you forward. Now, here's the powerful part. When you hold that energy, when you redirect it into your training, into your craft, into your mission, it multiplies. Suddenly, you're not dragging yourself through the day. You're attacking it. Your workouts hit harder. Your mind stays sharp. Your drive feels endless. Because you're no longer wasting the battery that was built to power your greatness. You're charging it. You're stacking it. And the man who learns to keep his energy instead of spilling it, that's the man who rises above the rest. Point 4. Attention is your real currency. Brother, let me tell you the truth most men never hear. Your biggest currency isn't money. It's not the car, it's not the house, it's not even your network. It's your attention. Where your attention goes, your entire life follows. And if you're handing away to cheap pleasures, distractions, and endless scrolling, you're broke before you even know it. Think about it. Every time you give hours to a screen, to a habit, to something that leaves you emptier than before, you're spending the one resource you can't ever get back. And that's why discipline isn't just about rules or routines. It's about guarding your attention like it's treasure. Imagine this for a second. What if every late night you spent wasting energy went into training your body? What if every distracted hour went into learning a skill, building your craft, chasing your mission? Brother, you wouldn't even recognize yourself. You'd be sharper, stronger, richer in ways that money alone can't buy. The men who rise in this world aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who know how to protect their focus, who treat their attention like it's gold, because it is. And the day you stop spending it on things that weaken you is the day you start building the man you were always meant to be. Point 5. The battlefield is your mind. Brother, let's be real. The enemy isn't out there. It's not the habit itself. It's not the screen. It's not even temptation in front of you. The real battlefield is right here, in your mind. That's where every fight starts and ends. You know that voice I'm talking about. The one that whispers, just once more. It's harmless. Nobody will know. You've earned it. Sound familiar? That's not your strength talking. That's weakness dressed up in logic. That's your mind trying to sell you the same trap you swore you'd escape. And if you don't catch it, it wins. Not because it's stronger than you, but because you believe the lie. Here's the secret, though. The moment you catch that voice, you've already taken back half your power. Don't sit there and argue with it. Don't start negotiating like, maybe tomorrow I'll quit, maybe just this last time. That's the trap. You don't think your way out of temptation. You act your way out. So when that urge hits, you move. You go for a run. You drop down and do push-ups. You grab your journal and write out what you're feeling. You take a deep breath, step outside, and change your state. Action kills temptation faster than overthinking ever will. The men who win this war aren't the ones who never feel the pull. They're not superheroes. They're the ones who recognize it for what it really is, a test. And every time they choose to pass that test, even in the smallest way, they grow stronger. Brother, remember this. Your mind is the battlefield. If you win there, you win everywhere. Point 6. Replace the habit with hunger. Brother, let me tell you something straight. You can't just stop a habit and expect it to disappear. That's why so many men fail. They try to cut it out cold, but they don't give their energy a new outlet. And what happens? The urge comes back stronger because nature hates a vacuum. If you don't replace it, you relapse. Simple as that. The key is hunger. You need something bigger, something that excites you so much it drowns out the old craving. Think about it. When a man has no vision, no purpose, no fire, his mind will always reach for the quickest pleasure. But when he's chasing something greater, that energy finds a new home. I had a brother who kept telling me he couldn't quit his cycle of indulgence. He tried willpower. He tried deleting apps. He tried promises. Nothing stuck. You know what changed everything? He signed up for his first boxing match. Suddenly, his nights were about training. His mornings were about discipline. And the same energy that used to drain him, it became fuel for his fight. He wasn't just quitting a habit. He was building himself into something bigger. That's the shift. Don't focus on what you're losing. Focus on what you're building. See your body as a project. See your career as a battlefield. See your legacy as the reward. When you have a mission that keeps you hungry, the habit doesn't feel tempting anymore. It feels small. Beneath you, hunger beats habit every single time. So the real question isn't, how do I quit? The real question is, what's the vision I'm hungry enough to fight for? Answer that, and the urge doesn't stand a chance. Point 7. Stillness is your sharpest weapon. Brother, let's be real. Most men are terrified of silence. The second they're alone, they reach for their phone. They blast music. scroll endlessly, distract themselves with anything just to avoid being alone with their own mind. And that's exactly why they stay stuck. Because silence feels uncomfortable. But that's where the real power is. Think of it like this. Noise is cheap. Anybody can fill their life with constant stimulation. But stillness? Stillness takes strength. It's like sitting in front of a mirror that doesn't lie. No filters, no distractions, just you and the truth of where you are. And when you stop running from that, you start sharpening yourself. You start hearing your own voice instead of the world's. I'll give you an example. There was a man I knew who used to drown himself in distractions after work. TV, endless scrolling, games. He couldn't handle silence. But then he challenged himself. 1 hour every evening, no phone, no noise. Just him, a notebook, and his thoughts. At first, it was torture. He hated it. But after a few weeks, he started to notice patterns. His ideas grew clearer. His confidence grew stronger. Because stillness trained him to face his own mind instead of running from it. And here's the truth. The man who can sit in silence without needing to escape, that man is dangerous. Because he's not a slave to impulses. He's not addicted to noise. He's grounded, centered, and calm under pressure. And grounded men, they build empires. Because nothing outside of them can shake the fortress they've built within. So, brother, don't fear silence. Use it. Practice it. Let stillness sharpen you. Because when you master stillness, you can master anything. Point 8. Your body keeps score. Brother, let me tell you something most men don't realize. Your body is like a diary. It records every choice you make, every habit you repeat, and every moment you waste. You might think nobody can tell what's going on inside of you, but they can. The sluggishness when you wake up, the heaviness in your steps, the dullness in your eyes, even the way your shoulders slump when you walk into a room. All of it speaks louder than your words ever will. I remember watching a friend go through this. He used to be full of energy, sharp with his presence. But over time, as he kept giving his energy away to distractions and cheap habits, it started to show. He wasn't sick, but his spark was gone. His posture weakened. His skin looked tired. Even his laughter sounded hollow. And people treated him differently, not because of what he said, but because of what they felt when he walked in. His body was keeping score. Now here's the powerful part. The moment you stop wasting your energy and start protecting it, your body changes. You walk into the gym, and suddenly you're lifting heavier. You speak, and your voice carries a weight it never had before. Even your presence shifts. People notice when you walk in, not because you're flashy, but because there's a charge about you, a quiet intensity. That's why I say attraction, respect, influence. They don't come from tricks, words, or even money. They come from the energy you carry in your body. And the body doesn't lie. You can fake confidence for a moment, but your posture, your eyes, your energy, those will always reveal the truth. So, brother, take care the score your body is writing every single day. Because when you start living with discipline, when you hold your energy instead of wasting it, you don't just feel different, you look different. And people will notice, even if you don't say a word. Point 9, transmutation, the art of redirection. Brother, here's the truth most men never hear. You don't beat this habit by killing your fire. You beat it by redirecting it. That urge you feel, that restlessness in your chest, that's energy. Raw, powerful energy. And the biggest mistake you could ever make is trying to suppress it. Suppression makes you weak. But redirection? That makes you unstoppable. Think about the greatest men in history. Warriors before battle didn't try to erase their fear or their desire. They turned it into focus, into ferocity, into power that made them legends. Artists, men who created music, paintings, inventions that still inspire us today, they weren't running from their fire. They used it, channeled it into their craft until it burned into history. Even leaders, the kind who built nations and shaped civilizations, they didn't waste their energy on distractions. They transmuted it into vision, discipline, and legacy. Now here's where it gets real. You have that same power inside you. The same energy that could be wasted in seconds can instead fuel years of progress. Imagine taking that fire and pouring it into the gym until your body becomes a weapon. Imagine pouring it into your work until your bank account, your skills, and your opportunities overflow. Imagine directing it into your mission until people feel your presence before you even speak. Brother, you're not supposed to kill your urges. You're supposed to master them, to hold them in your hands and say, "This won't control me. I'll use it to create." That's transmutation, the art of turning fire into fuel. And once you learn to do that, you stop feeling drained. You stop feeling weak. Instead, you start moving with a force the average man can't even understand. Because you're no longer wasting your energy. You're building a life that reflects it. Point 10. Freedom is mastery, not escape. Brother, let's be clear. This journey you're on, it's not about running away. It's not about locking yourself in a cage and hoping temptation never finds you. That's not freedom. That's fear dressed up as discipline. And on the other side, giving in to every impulse, chasing every high. That's not freedom either. That's slavery. Real freedom is mastery. It's standing in the middle of your desires, looking them dead in the eye, and choosing your path without flinching. Not because you're running, not because you're indulging, but because you're in control. Picture this. You wake up in the morning and temptation comes knocking. The same old voice whispers, "Just one more time, no one will know." But instead of panicking or caving, you breathe. You smile. You say, "I see you, but I've got work to do." And you move on. That's mastery. That's freedom. Because here's the thing. The man who runs from desire is still owned by it. The man who chases desire is destroyed by it. But the man who can hold in his hands, feel the fire, and choose to direct it where he wants, that man is unshakable. That man can walk into any storm, any test, and stay centered. And when you reach that place, brother, your whole life expands. Suddenly you're not wasting hours. You're building dreams. You're not living for short-term highs. You're living for long-term legacy. You're not a prisoner in your own skin anymore. You're the one holding the keys. That's the man you were meant to become. Not a slave to habits. Not a puppet to impulses, but a master of himself. And mastery, that's the highest form of freedom you will ever taste. So let's bring this home, brother. That habit you've been hiding from, it's not harmless. It's draining you. It's keeping you small. But it doesn't have to. You can flip it. You can turn the very thing that's been weakening you into the fire that builds you. Here's the truth. The world doesn't need more men chasing pleasure. It needs more men chasing purpose. Men who can stand strong, guard their energy, and build something that lasts. That can be you. But the choice is yours. Will you keep leaking your potential into empty comfort? Or will you rise, take control, and become the man who's remembered, not forgotten? Because in the end, brother, no great man in history was ruled by his impulses. They mastered themselves first, and that mastery is what made them unstoppable. Now it's your turn.